Hello and welcome to the Appointment King webinar. This webinar is for how to use Appointment King. I want to thank everybody for attending. My name's Janice Page and I'll be taking you through how to use Appointment King today. This webinar is focused for those of you who are scheduling appointments as well as those who are performing appointments. I'm recording this webinar, so if you'd like a copy of the recording, you can let me know. I'm happy to help you. There is a place where you can send in questions as we go along. If you just mouse over that little Zoom palette, there's a place you can type in questions. Send those questions in as we go forward. I'll answer those as they pop up. If you have questions after the webinar, tomorrow, next week, next month, please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you. You can reach out to me personally. My email address is jpage@activetracks.com. That's jpage@activetracks.com. So let me know if you have any questions or if you need a little extra help, or if you have any suggestions, you can shoot those over to us. We are always making improvements, making changes to Appointment King, and we get that feedback from those of you who are using it. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to see. So before we get started, I want to mention that in Appointment King, in the yellow menu bar, you'll see towards the far right-hand corner where it says support, we have videos. I'm going to cover the things on the videos, but I want you guys to know that if you need a little bit extra help, once again, you can reach out to me or you could watch a video. We have a video on how to use the Appointment King mobile app. And I'm not going to actually go over that today, but you can download that onto your mobile phone. If you were using an iPhone, you can go to the Apple Store. If you're using an Android, you can find it in the Google Play Store. So just download Appointment King and log in using your Appointment King username and password. This video will show you how you can actually go in, schedule appointments, resolve appointments, see your members' history. So there's a lot of information there. We also have videos on the subjects that we're going to talk about today, on just basic scheduling and on our premium features as well. So that's under support, it's videos, so we have lots of places where you can get help if you need help. So in today's webinar, we're going to cover just really the very basics of Appointment King on scheduling appointments. We're going to talk about how to resolve appointments, how to use the calendar filters, make everything really easy for you guys to go in and schedule appointments or to find appointments. We're going to talk about how to manage members' accounts, how to apply prepaid packages to your members' records. So if you were using prepaid packages like personal training or swim packages or massage packages, we'll talk about how you can go in and take those packages, attach them to your members' record, and then start to track those for your members. And then I am going to, if we have enough time, I want to show you how you can go in and you can generate reports in Appointment King. So we have a lot to cover. I'm going to go ahead and get started, but if you have any questions, go ahead and shoot those over and I'm going to take a look. I don't see any questions coming in, so we'll go ahead and get started. Now, before we go in and start scheduling appointments, I'd like to just give you a little bit of some background about how your YMCA's account was set up. So when your organization first joined with Appointment King, we met with your managers and we went in and set up and customized Appointment King to be used the way that you operate and the way that you will be using the system. I want to show you what that looks like. Now, everything has already been done for you. You guys don't need to do this, but I feel like if you just see how it's set up, it makes it a little bit easier when you're going in to schedule appointments. So we met with your managers who have manager rights, and underneath management, we went in and we set up appointment types. So you can go in and create, and when I say you, I mean your YMCA or your organization can go in and create as many different appointment types as you want. In my example here, I have appointment types for orientation. I have some for personal training. I have my group exercise classes in here. I even schedule tours. I can book conference rooms. I can do my racquetball or tennis court reservations here. I even have down at the bottom my staff meetings. So we go over this and show them how to go in and create the appointment types. And I'm just going to show you really quickly. I'm going to click on the fitness orientation. And you can see they'll fill out information about the details of that appointment type. But right here in the center where it says prepaid, you can see it says no. So for fitness orientations, if we choose no for prepaid, that means that anyone can come in and schedule a fitness orientation. They don't have to go purchase a package in order to schedule a fitness orientation appointment. So we have no here. If you'll also notice that the maximum and the minimum number are ones, these are one-on-one appointments. So that means that we can only schedule one member for an appointment. So if you maybe had a group fitness orientation, you may have maximum members up to 4, or something like that, where you can add multiple members. Now, I'm going to give you one other example, and that's my PT 60 minutes. So this is my personal training 60-minute appointment. So underneath prepaid, I have that it's required, meaning that the only way that you can schedule a PT 60-minute appointment is to have a prepaid package attached to the member's record. Now, I'm going to walk through this with you so you can see what that looks like. But I want you to know that it's there. That's something your manager will talk to you about, and it's something that they will already have set up. But I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of what it looks like. Also, with management, we set up labels. Labels allow your managers to take specific staff and apply them to or relate them to specific appointment types. For example, I'm going to go over here and click on my fitness orientation. And here are my staff members, and here are these appointment types. So I created a fitness orientation. I place the appointment types that I want under that label, and then I place the staff who will who can schedule appointments for these different types of orientation. So for example, I have Bob here. So if I go in, I schedule an appointment for Bob, I will only be able to schedule fitness orientations, orientation 2, and a strength evaluation. Now, another example I'll give you is my personal trainer. I only have one personal trainer, Carol. And underneath Carol, we can only schedule PT 60 minutes. The reason I'm showing this to you is that I want you to understand that if we have Carol on the calendar and we go over to schedule an appointment for her, I'm not going to accidentally schedule a swim class for her or schedule a fitness orientation. She only does personal training. So when we go in to schedule those appointments, we'll only see personal training. Now, this will already be set up for you, but I think it's important that you kind of understand what that looks like when you're scheduling appointments. And then the third thing I want to show you just really quickly are your prepaid packages. So your prepaid packages will already be set up. They'll already be filled out with how many sessions is in a particular package, the package price, if there's an expiration, when that expiration is. All of this will already be set up for you. I am going to show you how to take these packages and attach them to a member's record. So that's just kind of a little behind the scenes look. Let's go over and let's schedule an appointment. So I clicked up on the menu bar at Scheduler, which takes me over to my calendar scheduler page. And as you can see on the month of January, I have these little yellow tabs and I have some salmon color tabs. These tabs represent availabilities. Availabilities are blocks of time where we can go in and schedule appointments. For example, our coach Susan may be working from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. So we put her on the calendar from 2 to 6, and then we can schedule appointments for her during that time. So the yellow lines represent availabilities that still have openings for appointments. If you see a salmon color, that means that We did have availabilities on the calendar, but they've been filled with appointments. I know it's hard to see. I'm going to try to get a little closer here. There is a break right here. Anything in the top part of the page means, or the day, means that it's before 12 noon. And the bottom part, of course, means after 12 noon. So, for example, if somebody says, yeah, I'd like to come in Thursday at 3 p.m., just by looking at this, I can say I only have available appointments before noon. I don't have anyone in the afternoon, so we would have to schedule it for another day. I don't even have to open up that day. If they say, oh, that's fine, I'll come in the next Thursday. Well, the next Thursday, as it turns out, we had availabilities in the morning and the afternoon, but because this is a salmon color, we know that those availabilities have already been filled. So I'm going to come over here to today's date, and I'm going to click on the day to open up. Let me get this back to our normal size here. So here is my day. And then these are these availabilities. So here we have Carol, and she's working from 7 a.m. until 4. And then I can go in and place these appointments within this availability. We also have the ability to go in and create resources. So your managers can go in and put in resources like conference rooms. Here's a racquetball court I have. They can put resources, and then our members could come in this case with the racquetball, they can come in and they can schedule their racquetball time, and we have it right here on the calendar. So to go in and schedule an appointment, let's just start with a very simple scheduling an appointment. To schedule an appointment, I'm going to go over here and click on Add Appointments. Now, I want to schedule an appointment for my member. I want to schedule an orientation appointment. If I don't know who is doing orientations on this day, I can come over here to the calendar filters. Now, remember I talked about those labels, and I can come over here to the labels and say, oh, I just want to see who is doing orientations. I can choose orientations. So Carol doesn't do orientations, so she kind of goes away. Paul does orientations and Bob does. Now, any resources will always stay on the calendar. They don't go away. If I wanted to say who does personal training, I can come over and choose my personal training label, and Carol appears and Paul appears. So we can narrow down who is doing what type of appointments. So I'm going to schedule an appointment for Bob. To schedule an appointment for Bob, I'm going to click on this little add button, or add appointment button, and I am going to choose an appointment type. Now remember, I showed you that Bob was under my fitness orientation, and I only had these type of appointment types underneath. So I'm not going to accidentally schedule Bob for personal training or for a swim lesson or for a massage. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose fitness orientation. I'm going to choose a time, and then I'm going to search on my member's name. Now, let me just put in my member. So I put my member in, and I can mouse over her name. I could say, Trisha. If I had a couple of Trisha pins, I could say, Trisha, is your birth date April 2nd? And she says, yes. I can click on her, and I can add her. Now, I want to stop for just a moment and talk about integration. Your YMCA or your organization has their membership management software integrated with Appointment King. So what that means is that when you first joined with Appointment King, we received an upload of all of your current members into the Appointment King database. So when you come over here and you search on the member's name, the member automatically appears. However, let's say that we're in membership, and well, wait, let me take a step back before I give you an example. The way the integration works is that, so we get this big upload of all your members. And then every night, we receive all records of all the new members who joined during the day, as well as cancellations if anyone were to cancel their membership. So let's say that we're in membership and we say, hey, welcome to the Y. We'd like to get you scheduled for your orientation appointment. And they're like, oh, yeah, great. we go ahead and we put them into the membership management software, and we go in to schedule their appointment, and we search on them, and we see no member found based on this search. Remember, I said integration happens overnight. So if that member is sitting there in front of me and I just entered them into the membership management software, whether it's StacksCo or Protiviti or ActiveNet or whomever you're using, we receive those records overnight. So that member is not in the system. We still want to make an appointment for them. So we can go over here and manually add the member. What I want to really emphasize here is make sure that when you're adding their date of birth and their phone numbers, that you're putting in the same information that you've just put into the membership management software, whether it's StacksCo or whatever. So once you've added the member, it's a temporary name that you've added to the database. And then once we receive that record from your membership management software, it will match those two records. So it's real important that we get this information the same so it is able to go in and match. So actually, I'm going to go back over here to Tricia, and we're going to say, yep, and we're going to add her. If we want to leave any notes for whomever is performing that appointment, we can add notes here. These notes don't go out to your members. This is just for insight at your YMCA. And I'm going to click on Submit. With Appointment King comes texting. So what happens is that once you enter in that member and you schedule that appointment, they will receive an email letting them know when that appointment is. However, this little box will appear and you can ask them if they would like to receive a mobile text. If they say yes, just enter in their mobile number. If they say no, just choose no and submit it. If they change over a period of time and say, hey, yeah, you know what, I come in for my personal training appointments, I really would like to get those texts, you can go in and add that number and make a change there. So we've added, here she is. So here's our member, and you can see it's been added to Bob. Bob received either a text message or an email also letting him know that an appointment has been added to his calendar. So whomever is performing the appointment is notified as well as the member. And so here are those appointment details. It tells us what type of appointment, has the member's name, phone number, and you can see those notes. It is very, very, very important with all of these appointments that you go in and resolve the appointments. To resolve an appointment, there's multiple ways, but to resolve this one, we're just going to click on the appointment. And there are 4 ways to resolve. We can either say this was a completed appointment, a no-show, a rescheduled, or a canceled appointment. If we want to reschedule the appointment, and let's say we're going to reschedule it for a time that Bob isn't going to be there, we can go in and choose a different coach. I'm just going to leave it with Bob, but we could change that if we want. And I'm going to click in here and say, show me all the times that Bob has available between now and February 6th. And we can go right down through here and say, this is one that works for our member. And I'm going to click on this little plus sign, and this date turns blue. And if I go down, it tells me this was rescheduled on Tuesday, January 7th at 8, and I'm going to click on Submit, and it will take that appointment and move it over for you. Now, once again, I'm going to make this a little larger. That canceled appointment or rescheduled appointment will stay on the calendar. So now this appointment, here it is with this little stripe box, and that's a calendar on it. If I mouse over, you can see the member is for Tricia. The outcome at the bottom 2 lines tells me it's rescheduled for Tuesday, January 7th. So if I go over to Tuesday, I would see that appointment on Bob's calendar. Tricia would get a text or an email letting her know that those changes had taken place, and so would Bob. Really important that we always go in and resolve those appointments. While we're looking at this and resolving it, I want to talk for just a moment about these little different icons and what they stand for. Um, if you'll notice this one with the little stripe box and the calendar, that one, of course, is the rescheduled. The one that is canceled has a little X mark on it, and it tells us the outcome is canceled. A green check mark, the outcome is completed. And if that appointment is a no-show, you'll see it looks like a little yellow triangle. And of course, by mousing over these, we can see exactly what that outcome was. Now, I mentioned the calendar filters and going in and looking at those labels. The calendar filters are good for you for a couple of different reasons. These can get really, your calendar can get really busy. Let's say we had maybe, 8 or 10 coaches across here, and they had appointments and they had cancellations and then they had rescheduled appointments. And so right here, we have, this was an 11 o'clock, both of these were 11 o'clock appointments. I could come right over here and I could schedule another 11 o'clock appointment. I'll just do that really quickly to show you what that looks like. Just do it really fast so you can see. Plus, you'll see how quickly it is, how easy and fast it is to actually schedule an appointment. So they just kind of build. So if this one for Joe were to cancel or reschedule, it would just build and I could actually go in and schedule another appointment. So it can get very, very busy. You can go underneath calendar filters and pick and choose what you want to see on the calendar. The reason I like to point this out during training is that occasionally people go in and make changes, and then, I don't know, maybe they get up and walk away from their desk or something, and then they come back and look and they're frightened because they think they've lost everything. Underneath show outcomes, if you'll notice, I'm showing all my rescheduled and canceled appointments. I'm also showing my confirmed and unconfirmed appointments. If you look down here at Bob's and I start unchecking these boxes, you'll see things start changing and start disappearing. I'm going to go over here to my confirmed and unconfirmed appointments. And then if you look, all those appointments are actually gone. And if I were really curious and I'm kind of looking at this saying, oh, I wonder what Ash is doing today. Oh, he's not working today, but is he working for the month? And if I think what happens is people go in and they start playing around. They have their calendar filters closed. They come in and this is what they see and they panic. And it happens. We hear from them and they're kind of very upset because Appointment King has lost all their information. I can promise you Appointment King is not going to lose any of your information. So if you come back over and you just pick and choose what you want to see, you can come in and just click on whatever boxes that you want to see. A lot of people do take off these rescheduled and canceled because they don't want to see them. And I think they forget about it because then they start looking and can't find it. Sometimes that's a little bit of issue. So let me see if we have any questions about scheduling appointments. If not, I'm going to go in and start talking about scheduling appointments using prepaid packages. So at the beginning, I showed you my labels, and I said that Carol Farmer does personal training. Once again, if I wanted to, I could come over and say, show me all the people who do personal training. But I know she's my personal trainer. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this little green dot to add an appointment. Once again, she's under that personal training label. So all she can do are personal training appointments. Someone isn't going to accidentally schedule her for an orientation or swim lesson. So we're going to come over, we're going to do a PT 60 minutes, and I'll do it at 7, and I'm going to put my member's name in. And here's my member. And you can see when I go in and I try to choose my member, there's a little note at the top that says this member does not have the required prepaid package credits for this appointment. It doesn't matter how many times I go over and click on his name, I cannot schedule an appointment. So remember at the beginning, I was showing you those appointment types, and I pointed out that my PT 60-minute appointments I had required under prepaid packages. So the only way that we can schedule a PT 60-minute appointment for this member is to add a package to their record. Now, I just want you to see what this looks like, because if you're sitting there and you're scheduling an appointment for someone and all of a sudden this little red script comes up and you don't know what it is, I don't want you to panic. It just means that they have to have a package attached to their record. So I can't do anything here. I'm going to close this. And now I'm going to show you how to go in and attach that package to this members record. So I'm going to go over to members. I'm going to go to manage members. I'm going to put in my member's name. And when I click on my member's name, I'm going to go over to the prepaid package tab, and you'll see he doesn't have a package attached. So I'm going to go over to my labels. Remember, I showed you those labels, and this is already set up for you guys. Your labels are set up. All of the package under each individual label will already be set up for you by your management team. Now, here you can see I have a preset package that's 60 minutes. It has 10 sessions. I can come over here and I can change who sold this package. However, if I make a change to the price, the expiration, the package type, the quantity, or the quantity warning, this will turn into a custom package. And just a little bit of advice here, because once again, we hear back from managers occasionally saying, why do we have, and there's tons of reports, and I'm going to show you guys some of these reports. You have access to all these reports. When they're running reports, why do we have so many custom packages? I really couldn't tell you. I don't work there. I don't know why you have custom packages. But if you guys go in and make a note of why you changed that to a custom package, no one has to track you down to find out why these are custom packages. It'll be right here in your notes. So I don't want this to be a custom package. I want it to just be regular. I am going to change who sold this. I can make notes if I want, but I'm just going to add this. Now, Appointment King asks, are you sure if you want to add the package? Because once you add a prepaid package to a member's name, you cannot delete that package. So if I look at this and I'm like, oh, this isn't supposed to be for Sam, it's supposed to be for his wife, Alice. Or maybe this wasn't supposed to be a PT 60-minute appointment, it was supposed to be 30-minute appointment. Maybe I just grabbed the wrong one. Once again, once it's there, we can't delete it. So if you have manager rights, you would see this little button over here at the side that says adjustments. If you don't have manager rights, you'll just have to take it to your manager and say, I've made a mistake here. Can you come in and adjust it? And let me tell you, it's no issue. It takes about 3 seconds to go in and make that adjustment. So it's no big deal for them at all. They can do it instantly. So if you notice here, I now have 10 appointments. You notice under remaining balance, we have 10 appointments. That's what I chose. So I'm going to go back over here to the scheduler, and I'm going to go to Carol. I'm going to click on add an appointment. I'm going to choose my PT 60. I'll choose at 7 o'clock again, put my member's name in. And this time when I choose my member, it allows me to select them because they have a package attached. And now I've added Sam to the package. To the calendar, excuse me. And if I mouse over, there's that appointment. And you can see there's my member, Sam. I talk about resolving appointments. I mentioned it when we did the fitness orientation. That's very important to resolve the appointments. It's extremely important to resolve appointments, especially when they are attached to packages, because the only way any of these reports are going to be accurate is if the package is completed, and completed means that we have to resolve those appointments. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this appointment, and we have the same 4 results. So this could be a completed, a no-show, a rescheduled, or a canceled appointment. If our member calls and cancels, you have the option to either deduct or to refund that session. You can make that decision. In this example, I'm going to say that Sam actually completed the appointment. And Sam says to Carol, hey, I would like to get on your calendar for a couple of more sessions. So Carol can come over, and we're going to click on multi-appointments. And I'm going to choose my PT 60, put in Carol's name here, add Sam's name. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, show me Carol's availabilities between now and February. And I can come right down here and choose times and dates that work well for my member. And if there's a date that's like, oh, whoops, didn't mean to do that one, you can come over here and exit them out. It'll show you all the selected dates and time. When you go, you can add notes here, of course. When I come over here and click on submit, it's going to take all of these dates and times and, whoops, it's going to take all of these dates and times and put them on Carol's calendar. It does take a couple of seconds longer because it has to go to all of those at different dates and times. So if you're thinking, oh, it doesn't usually take this long, just a little longer for multi-appointments. There we go. So now it's taken all of those selected dates and placed them on Carol's calendar. It sent notifications to the member with those dates and also to the coach or whomever is performing that appointment. Now I'm going to come back over here to members, and I'm going to go to manage members because I just want you to see how that looks. So I'm going to put Sam's name back in here. And now when I click on his name and I go to prepaid packages, you'll see he has 4 appointments remaining. So if you look over here under remaining balance, we have 5 appointments that are scheduled. So I have 5 appointments that are scheduled out for the future and 4 appointments that are waiting to be scheduled. 4 plus 5 is 9. And of course, this is a 10 session. Once an appointment has been completed, it has been deleted. It's been removed from this remaining balance. So if I wanted to see where was number 10, I can go over here to appointment history. And I know it's hard to see, but down here at the bottom, it says completed. So that's the 10th one. Now, resolving appointments are very important. I said that there are multiple ways to resolve it. We could just click on that page and open up the appointment and resolve it. I could also resolve it directly from this window. I can come over here and say, yep, we completed this one. And now if I go back over here to my prepaid packages, you can see we have 4 scheduled with 4 to be scheduled, totaling 8. So we have both of those ways. If you go under my account and you go to my home, it will show you a list of any unresolved appointments. So you can come right over here and you can resolve these directly underneath your account. And another way, and it's really important that you get these resolved. So we have several different ways to resolve them. If we come over here to the calendar and I go over to appointments on the left-hand side, I can say, show me all my past unresolved appointments. And I have to say, this is a little training account. I use it for examples. Yours should never be this long, but it will have all of these unresolved appointments in here. So I can go see something that's, here's a December 24th. So I can come right over here and I can update these directly from this window. I can just go in and resolve these. So it would give us a list and I can go right down that list. So once again, it's really important that you resolve all of these, all of your appointments, but especially these appointments that have prepaid packages attached to them. I'm going to just take a quick look and see if anyone has any questions. So if you have any questions, send those questions in to me. I want to move over to availabilities. I started off talking about these availabilities. Here's availability on the calendar for Carol from 7 to 4. Here's one from Bob. There's a couple of different things I want to mention about availabilities, and then I want to show you how you can create your own availabilities. Now, this determines on the determination on whether you can create availabilities or not is based on the rights that your manager has given you. So managers can give staff the rights to go in and create their own availabilities, or they can give them rights to go in and schedule appointments if they don't have an availability, the rights to create availability. For example, I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's this little appointment that's up here floating about. So here we have all these other appointments on availabilities for Carol, for Bob, etc. But this one up here is just kind of in the air by itself. One, it's up there oddly because I'm zoomed in, but it's a 6 o'clock appointment. So if I mouse over it, you'll see that this was for James Fulton. See the trainer's name down at the bottom? So he had a member named Bill who said, yeah, I'd like to come in for my fitness orientation too. I'd like to come in first thing in the morning. Do you have anything at 6 o'clock? Well, he's not on the calendar for an available block at 6 o'clock. So his manager has given him, and when you can't give it to one particular person, you give it to the appointment type. So this particular appointment type can be scheduled on the calendar without having an availability on the calendar. So James was able to say, yeah, I don't see myself on the calendar, but let me just add you and I'll definitely be here. So that's what that little floating appointment is. It's when you don't have the rights to create your own availabilities, but you do have the rights to create an appointment without an availability. So we have some availabilities here for Carol. It has a black line. Here's one for Paul with no black line. If you see an availability on the calendar that has a black line, it means that availability is reoccurring. You can go in and say, create this block of time every Monday for the next 3 months or for the next 5 days, whatever you want. If you wanted an availability to just be on the single day, it doesn't reflect a black line. Remember when I talked to you, well, let me go ahead and just show you. So to create availability, if you have those rights, when you click on the page, the create availability window will pop open and you can come right in here and you can select the employee and we'll put in 5 to 9. A no repeat puts it on just that day. A repeat daily would let us choose like for the next 5 days from 5 to 9, and repeat weekly would put it on every Monday till whenever I tell it to stop. We're just going to do a no repeat for this example. And when I click on submit, I've now added this to the calendar. We can edit this by clicking on the name and clicking on the edit pencil. If Ryan was going to be on vacation, I could come over and say, oh, Paul's going to fill in for him. If we need to go in and change the time, we can change the time and just submit. Now, if you have appointments sitting out on an availability, even if, especially when it's a reoccurring availability, it is not going to let you go in and make any editing changes that will affect those standing appointments. For example, I'm going to click on Paul again. He doesn't have any appointments here. If I'm like, oh, I didn't really want Paul here, I can delete him. And it says, are you sure you want to delete? And I'm going to say, yes, delete it, because there isn't any conflict. We don't have him out for weeks at a time, and he doesn't have any appointments. Bob here does have an appointment. If I wanted to edit Bob and change him from 7:30 to 4, he's currently at 7:34. If I want to change him from 7:30 to 3, I click on the edit pencil, and I can come over here and I can make this edit change to 3 p.m. And it's going to tell me that this availability repeats all the way until Monday, February 24th. So it asks, do we want to do it for just this one time, starting on this date, or edit all incidences? It will only let us make changes if there are not dates out in the future. So if I feel like, oh, I'm not sure about the future, I can say, oh, let's just do it for this one incident. And I can go in because I know it's not going to affect my dates, and I can change it to 3 just for this one incident. If I wanted to delete this, I come over and click on delete. It tells me this availability cannot be deleted because it has appointments sitting there. Oops, sorry. I want to reflect back on just one thing. This is kind of an FYI. You may never come across it, But remember when I was talking about labels, and we said that Carol is underneath the uh, personal training label, so she can only be scheduled for personal training. Let's close that. And Bob is underneath the orientation label, so he can only be scheduled for orientations. If there is a staff person who is on the calendar to perform appointments and they have not been placed underneath a label, when you go in to schedule appointment for them, they have access to all of the appointment types. And sometimes this becomes a problem because somebody hasn't put them under a label and they get scheduled for appointments that they don't do. So Paul is a staff person, a coach who no one put under a label. So if I come over here to schedule an appointment for Paul, excuse me, when I choose appointment type, I can choose fitness orientations, personal training. I could even choose group exercise classes. I could schedule him for a tour, swim lessons. I could schedule him for basketball or racquetball court. I can do all kinds of things here. So if that happens to you and it's like, wait, I shouldn't be having all these choices, it's because of the way that you are under a label. Excuse me, guys, I'm so sorry. I've been talking all day and I think it must be getting to me. I do apologize. One last thing that I want to show you with regards to availabilities. We have Bob here, and once again, Bob is underneath the label for orientations, and he comes in from 7:30 to 3. But let's say that Bob comes back at 6 o'clock in the evening, and he does personal training, and he doesn't want anybody to schedule him for orientations. But when people see his name, they're like, oh yeah, he does orientations, and let's just schedule an appointment. What I can do is come over here. I'm going to click on this page. I can create an availability. Here he is for him. And we'll say I'm going to have him from 6 until 9. And during this time, I don't want him to do orientation. So there's a little button here that everybody has access to. It's override labels. So sorry, guys. I just get a sip of water. His active label is fitness orientations. We don't want him to do fitness orientations in the afternoon, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to say in the evenings, he just does personal training. So I'm going to add those personal training labels, and I'm going to submit this. Now, it doesn't affect anything underneath the management labels. He's still set up under orientations. But in the mornings when he comes in and we try to schedule an appointment for him, we can only schedule orientations. But when he comes in the evening and we try to schedule an appointment for him, we can only schedule personal training. So you can be on the calendar with multiple availabilities and do different appointment types during those availabilities. So just kind of an FYI. Now I want to show you, let me know if anybody has any questions about those. Gosh, I'm sorry, this is very sensitive today. I want to quickly show you reports. I'm not going to go through each one of the reports. My goal here is to show you how reports work so you could go in and generate reports. I'm operating from kind of just a little training example here. I am not integrated with a membership management software the way that you will be, or that your YMCA is. But I just want to kind of show you what you can do with reports. So under reports, we have them broken down into 3 different sections. We have new joins, we have packages, and we have performance. Under new joins, you can go in and you can look at your onboarding. It will show you how many new members have joined over a period of time and how many of those new members have been scheduled for appointments during this time. You can also look at your enrollments, and I'm going to show you enrollments because occasionally, if people are not getting let's see. We'll just go over here to this real quick. Um, so if for some reason you're looking at members and you don't see your members in the system, you're searching like I did for Sam, and Sam's not showing up. And you're like, I think there might be something wrong. We're not getting our records from Dexco or whomever your membership management software is. You can come over, look at whatever time period that you want, and when you upload those, it will give you a list of all your enrollments and all of your terminations. Now, this, once again, is just an example account. I'm not integrated, but your enrollments will have the enrollment records that we received every single day. So if it looks something like this, you should probably be a little concerned because these were all manually entered. That means that yours are being manually entered. You can look at your membership management software and find out how many you've had over a period of time and make a comparison. If there is a problem, you can contact us and let us know. We're happy to help you with that. I'm going to come back to packages. I'm going to come over here to performances, and I'm going to use the outcomes report because it's one of the best reports that kind of gives you an example with what all you can do. So I'm going to come back over and I just want to kind of gather some data here so I have some numbers to show you. So you can go in and you can look up these numbers for your own account. There we go. Now, so the outcomes report shows us how many appointments were scheduled for the individual appointment types during whatever time frame that you're searching for. So let's say you have Jumpstart appointments and you're looking here and you're like, I don't even see Jumpstart on this list. Well, if it doesn't appear in the list, it means that between this time period, no one scheduled a Jumpstart appointment. It will only show you on the list the appointment types that were used during that time period. So it shows us the total number of appointments scheduled. So I'm going to use this fitness orientation. So this tells us that we had 76 fitness orientation appointments scheduled. Out of those 76, once again, I really don't like showing these because it's make-believe, but yours will be real. We had 7 that were completed. We had 5 no-shows. We had 35 rescheduled, 12 canceled, and 17 unresolved. If I wanted to say, wait, who was unresolved? I can drill down into this particular cell, and I can scroll down, and it will show me over here the outcome or unresolved. It has all of my members, and it has my employees. So I can say, wait, what's going on here? Or if I wanted to see all of the results, I can click for fitness orientation. I can click into the total, which is 76 here, and it will give me a list. And as you can see, we have unresolved, we have completed. I can actually sort directly from this window. I know it's hard to see, but you can download every one of these reports into a CSV file, open them up in Excel and do with them whatever you need to do with. If I hit on this 260 here, it's going to give me a list of all of my different appointment types. So you can go in, there's lots and lots of different reports under performance that you can go in and take a look at. Go in, play around with these. If you have questions about a report or if you're looking for some specific information and you're not able to find it, reach out to me. I'll be happy to show you where it is. The same thing kind of works the same with packages. We could come in here and we could look at our package sales over a period of time. So if I said, let's look at it for this from September 1st. I could see all of my package sales. It has my staff and who sold what packages. If I click into these, I will get a list that has all of my members and what type of package. Under packages, we can look at our client expiration. We can look at the liability. So we can see what packages are sitting out there that still need to be scheduled. We can get a list of the liability. And then I will just point out really quickly the session fulfillment report. Now keep in mind, you can drill into any of these cells to gather the information that you want. Underneath the session fulfillment report, and the reason I'm going to show this to you, so we have two trainers here. We have Carol and we have Lou. If I click in on Carol, the session fulfillment report shows me all of these appointment types, and it'll list it down by appointment type. It lists by members, and then the date and time, and how many sessions were used. And here's the outcome. The reason I'm showing you this is a lot of people use this to pay their personal trainers or to pay their swim instructors. I have a YMCA who I work really closely with, and they pay all of their swim instructors from this list. This is what they go through. When they first converted over to paying from this list, we had a lot of swim instructors who were very upset, who contacted me saying, this is not right. Appointment keying is not right. So what we did, and I knew what the issue was, but sometimes it's good for them to walk through it. So I would say, well, they said it doesn't show all of the appointments that I actually had. So they would give me the dates that they said they had appointments that were not showing up on this report. When we went together to look at that date, the problem was that they never resolved that appointment. So if they're not resolving the appointment as a completed appointment, it doesn't show up here, and they were not getting paid for that lesson. That really just kind of went on for like 1 week, maybe into 2 weeks, and they figured it out. They're all happy now. So this is just reinforces the importance of going in and resolving those appointments. So all of these reports are accurate. I've given you guys a lot of information. We talked about scheduling appointments and resolving appointments. I do want to just mention one other thing. If we have a member who calls and says, hey, I have an appointment at some time with somebody, but I can't remember when, I can't find any of my information, we can come over to members and we can go to manage members. We can put in our member's name. We'll use Tricia that we used earlier. And when we click on this, I can look at her appointment history. If I remember appointment history, I can say, yeah, I see that you had an appointment on January 6th with Bob, but that was rescheduled to January 7th with Bob. And if Tricia says to me, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to cancel, I'll have to reschedule. Once again, we can update that right here and resolve it. And we'll just say it's canceled. And I'm going to say, we'll call back, or any notes that you want to add. And so now we can see, when we look at this member's record, 6 months from now, we can see that they had an appointment on January 6th that they rescheduled. They had one on January 7th that they canceled. Any new appointment, anything else that they go in and add, it will always stay here. You always have that member's history for you. So we talked also about using calendar filters to kind of filter out the calendar, and as well as going in and creating availabilities. We talked about applying prepaid packages. So your managers will let you know if they're using prepaid packages, and some YMCAs allow everybody to go in and add those packages to members' records. Some people assign 1 or 2 people to do it. That's an inside question to ask your Y. And then we quickly talked about generating reports. I do want to mention, once again, underneath support, we do have this mobile app. The mobile app is for people who are performing appointments. So if you're a coach who has appointments on the calendar, this appointment is for you. If you are someone who books appointments or schedules appointments that doesn't actually perform appointments, it is not for you. When you log in to appointment keying on the mobile app, you can only see your schedule. So if I was Bob Brewer, I could see my schedule as Bob, but I couldn't see Carol's or Mike's or Jason's. I couldn't see anyone else's. I could only see mine. I can I can schedule appointments from this mobile app. I can look at my members' history. I can reschedule those appointments, resolve those appointments. I can see a list of my whole month's appointments. There's all kinds of information, and it's all covered in this little mobile app. Please watch the video, download the mobile app. If you have questions, um, reach out to me. Once again, my name's Janice Page. My email is jpage@activetracks.com. So it's jpage@activetracks.com. So that's all that I have. If you have questions, reach out to me. If you have suggestions, reach out to me. We want to hear you. Thank you so much for attending today, and thank you very much for using Appointment King. You guys are important to us. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.